Hi, I'm Melissa, your free range psychic. Today is July 5th, 2020, and it's a full moon and a lunar eclipse today. I think the sun is in Cancer and the moon is in Capricorn. Today, I am going to do a past life reading on Bill Barr as the reincarnation of Torquemada. So Torquemada was the Grand Inquisitor of the Spanish Inquisition. Bill Barr is, of course, the Attorney General for Trump. So the seed of this idea came when I was on Linda's show last week, and she asked me out of the blue who the reincarnation of Bill Barr was, and my guides told me he was this chancellor who was serving the king and queen of Spain during the Inquisition. And then later on, when I asked them who it was, they showed me that it was Torquemada. And then just yesterday I got an email from somebody saying, oh, that was Torquemada you were looking for. And then that was a confirmation of what I had seen. So what do you think about their features? And it's certainly their personalities mesh, but I think there's some similarity there, just in their expressions and their face. It's so weird how that happens, I know, but when I've been doing these readings and I find portraiture and photographs of the people I'm doing the readings for, I do see a similarity. I know I've mentioned that in other videos. So I'm going to use the Ciro Marchetti Gilded Tarot for the reading. I use a simple Celtic cross. And then there's an oracle card for us after this. So the first card is the Hierophant reverse. Now I never use reverse cards, but I had this was the card that really in its reverse form that really signified both Barr and Torquemada, and my guides wanted me to use it thusly. And so this is using the power, the institution of religion to promote not the work of good, like heeding to the sick and or tending the sick and helping the poor and all that kind of stuff. It's to gain power. It's to promote authoritarian rule, to have absolute control without any morality, without any compassion or love, although maybe under the guise of all of that. So both Barr and Torquemada, under the Catholic Church, believe that Barr is a member of Opus Dei, and they're both coming in this guise. And I did leave, or I did insert a quote in one of the photographs of Barr regarding his thoughts on that. How society was so corrupt and it was deteriorating, you know, our the fabric of society, and how it had to be eradicated so we could bring in maybe the whatever he perceives as the 1950s, or this more moral and pure culture. And Torquemada the same. His agenda was getting rid of initially they're called the conversos, those who were converted to Catholicism from the Jewish and Islamic faiths. And this Inquisition had been going on for several hundred years. And he felt that the conversos were not really truly Christian, that behind the scenes where they were not eating pork and you had to eat pork to be a Christian, and they were still doing, you know, buying from their food from Jewish suppliers, meaning they were trying to keep kosher, and that was a big sin. That was and he was aligned with Queen Isabella on that. They both felt that was a horrific thing, that people were doing that, and they needed to be rooted out, tortured, and burned at the stake if it came to that. And Torquemada was responsible for at least 2,000 people being burned at the stake, but I think that's probably only those that were documented. I'm sure there was much more than that. So he was really the initiator of this idea of the purity of blood. And after rooting out the conversos, he then attacked the Jewish and Islamic community. And regarding the Jews, he was all in for purity of blood. So if you had any Jewish blood, then you had to be tortured, burnt, or expelled. He led the Spanish Inquisition that led to the huge exodus, or it's called a diaspora, of Jews and Islams from Spain. And I think it's only been relatively recently that there's any Jewish community that's been reestablished there. I'm not sure about the Islamic community, but that was Torquemada. And Barr, probably a big proponent of immigration reform, because of that, wanting to keep the purity of the American culture. But if I'm wrong on that, let me know. But I do believe that Barr would be well, no, I know, I have recall now of reading that it's exactly what his beliefs are, that for a very long time he has wanted the kind of draconian measures that he, Miller, and Trump, and Kelly, and others have now manifested into concentration camps and tyrannical policies that deport people back to countries where they're probably going to be executed, or sending people with COVID right back so they can die. Yeah, whatever. I mean, there's just a plethora of horrific things that are happening right now because of that belief that we're going to eradicate, we're going to punish those who want to come into our country who are not Aryan, pure of blood and true Americans. So there's Barr in this guise, and all under the self-righteousness of this adherence, or this affiliation with the Catholic Church. And I'm not blaming the Catholic Church. I'm just saying he uses that ultra-conservative affiliation with probably ultra-conservative Catholics to justify his acts of torture, barbarism, and yeah, that kind of thing. So above, who is he, or who are they serving? The devil. So under the guise of the church, under the guise of being righteous and moral and upright, they're actually serving the devil here. And interestingly enough, we think about being burnt at the stake. Look at that. So this is the Dark Lord. This is Trump. This is, Ferdinand and Isabella. And if you think about them and sending Columbus over to the Americas and what they did to the indigenous populations there, because they're Catholics and everybody else is a pagan and a subhuman that is not of their ilk. Yes, this is definitely the motivation here. And then behind it all, acquiring power and acquiring gold and wealth and greed and rigidity and intolerance and narcissism. All evil motivations here, and serving an evil lord or lady in Torquemada's case. In the near past, so really the near past really is a kind of for a past life reading. What it really means is the past card is the accumulation of Torquemada's work in the past, and also Barr's up to this date. The King of Swords. And so when I asked my guides about this card, they initially said, because I was asking, I said, well, is this, they're them, they're ruling by the sword, right? They're aloof and detached and feeling that they're above all their subjects and they have ultimate power over life and death. And yes, my guides say for sure, but it's also them in alliance with an authoritarian power. So it's Barr serving Trump and being Trump's Roy Cohen, and it's Torquemada serving Isabella and Ferdinand. They're, their iron fist. Below, motivation. So this is Torquemada and Barr both acquiring a huge amount of power and wealth, but behind the scenes, they're serving their masters, and they're fine to, be secondary, I should say, or they're not in the limelight. They're not the alpha, right? They're in service mode, but it's a preferred mode because in that way they still go about their agenda. They still are extremely powerful and have a huge amount of latitude in what they do. And behind the scenes here, they are gaining wealth and power. And so Torquemada, while he, has this veneer of being holy and austere, he is reported to, lead a simple life. But you can bet that just like when the Nazis eradicated the Jewish neighborhoods and sent the Jews to the camps and whomever else they did that to, they would acquire their property and then they would put it in their own pockets. Torquemada, I'm sure, benefited greatly from what the people that he, I should say from his victims, whom either were murdered, jailed, or, forced to leave. All of that was acquired wealth. And so maybe he didn't put it ostensibly in his own pocket, but Torquemada certainly got a lion's share for the church. And I would say here's Barr doing the same thing in his own way, gaining huge amount of power. Look, he's taken over not just the DOJ, but he's now enforcing his will on New York, which should be sovereign. And he's accumulating more and more power, but he has the cover of and the permission of the supreme leader to do so. In the future, well, the future for a past life reading card is the end of the the end of one person's life, right? That would be Torquemada, and then this is what's coming up for the next person. So this would be what's coming up for Barr. So my guides told me that this could represent the Inquisition, right? For Barr, it's also coming up for him. This is karma. That's what my guides told me. So this is Barr becoming the subject of an Inquisition. What do you think about that? So this is a future. This is maybe now being, called up to Congress, but oh my God, when Biden becomes president and we have a Democratic Senate and a Democratic House, let the Inquisition begin, because it's going to happen, according to my guides, I should say. And the clarifying card is Knight of Swords. This is reiterating what my guides have been telling me about, both Barr and Torquemada. They are the Roy Cohens for their leaders. They're going to be the knights of service to them, wielding their swords to wreak havoc, chaos, and harm on the populace. That is their role. And the future card, Death. So Death, obviously, the Torquemada is no longer with us. So it's been dead for hundreds of years. But my guides say this has to do with just, again, the result of this. He was the creator of death here. This was the way to gain purity of the Catholic Church, was through death. And oh wait, Barr. So for Barr, this is a curious card. I do believe this is his end in the future. He gets replaced as head of the DOJ, and then he is on trial for his sins. And it's disaster for him. There's so much disaster, and probably accused of treason and just hundreds of things that he's done. We don't even know, really, do we? The lion's share of probably what's gone on with Barr and what he's given the latitude of what somebody like that can do behind the scenes. Who knows? We'll find out, though. But they also say that potentially this is also some kind of cancer or something coming up for him in the future that he's really going to have a big struggle with. I don't know whether it's going to cause his death, but he's going to be, face to face with his own mortality coming up here. Oh, there's one other thing that I wanted to tell you guys. So this was interesting. Talk about karma. This is really the card of one of the cards of karma in the tarot. I wanted to read you this little tidbit, because I was asking, what's the karma for Torquemada? He apparently died a peaceful death, and what happened to him? But I did find this. After 15 years as Spain's Grand Inquisitor, Torquemada died in the monastery of St. Thomas Aquinas in Avila on September 16, 1498, and was interred there. His tomb was ransacked in 1832, only 2 years before the Inquisition was finally disbanded. So the Spanish Inquisition was not disbanded until 1832. So his bones were allegedly stolen and ritually incinerated in the same manner as the auto de fe, or as an auto de fe. That's a little bit of karma. So, what do you think? You think that potentially Barr is the reincarnation of Torquemada? Let me know. So today we have an oracle card from the Messenger Oracle deck by Ravynne Phelan. This card is A New Day Dawns. A new day dawns. Today is a new day. With the dawn comes an opportunity to begin again or to embrace something new. Create what you wish to create. Become the person who you dream of being. Do not allow your doubts or fears to hold you back, for this day is bright with hope and good fortune. Go forth and greet it with a smile upon your lips and joy in your heart. So I do private readings, any past life, anything in the present. I'm a medium, and I can introduce you to your guardian angels if you so wish. My information is at the end of the musical interlude, which is coming up shortly. And also it's below in the description. I wish everybody a beautiful day, evening, night, whenever you watch this. Enjoy the full moon today, and let me know your experiences with it if you would like to share them. I will be doing another video next week, and I send you my love. Please stay safe and enjoy the 4th of July weekend, what's left of it. You guys take care, okay? Thanks. Bye.